All right. We are live. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you're joining us from. And welcome to another episode of the iFlip Mailbag Show. Let me get rid of this ticker down here because we started. And welcome, everybody. This is our monthly mailbag show where you have questions and we have answers. And joining me, of course, is none other than my co-host, Lee Gearhart. Whoa, let me get Lee. Let me get your pretty face on your on the screen here.
I don't know about
that. Well, welcome, Lee.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Absolutely. We have a ton of questions. So we're just going to jump right into it because we have more than our usual list. We have a couple extra questions tonight. So we're just going to jump right in. Let's see here. Okay. First question for the evening is, do you have a step-by-step video on how to read and interpret the iFlip platform? I don't follow the market and currently have no idea how to read any chart that is not explained by Kelly. Consequently, when I go onto my iFlip or Velox customer platforms, I have no idea what most of it means. So, Lee, I think some of us may need a little bit of help reading the platform. We try to keep it as simple as possible. But can you help us with this?
Yeah. And I think that's one nice thing about what we do. You know, we oftentimes are talking about how we, for lack of a better word, attract a very wide audience. You know, we have people that are very savvy and very sophisticated that really believe in our AI and they want at least a portion of their money managed by it. Oftentimes it's a majority of their money. And then we have people who, you know, let's face it, we're all good at something and it's not always investing or the stock market. So you might come to us and you barely know what a stock is, or you don't know what the S&P 500 is. You know, that's all okay. We try to build the platform to be as simple and as straightforward as possible. And we kind of tailor it towards that person who might not know as much. But at the same time, we still want you to be able to understand what you're looking at. You know, I think we can all probably agree that we understand, you know, green would be that things are positive, red that things might be negative. But we've actually filmed a great little, Aaron actually did this, a good little overview video of the platform. It's maybe a year or two old by now, so it's by no means not the most up-to-date thing. Obviously we've made a few platform slight tweaks, I guess you could call them, but the video is still very, very worthwhile to take a look at. And I think we might have a link for it. Is it down in the description yet, Aaron?
Yes, it is. Cool. And I'm also going to put it in the chat. If you want to click the description, there's a link to the overview video in the description. And I believe this question came from Kimberly. If Kimberly wants, you know, I'm also going to put it in the chat, so you can just click that as well. Cool. This is obviously, you know, it's outdated because I look different in the video.
Different haircut or what?
Yeah, different hair. It's much shorter hair. But and some of the buttons are labeled slightly differently, but the overall look and feel and the icons might look different, but the overall navigation is still the same. Yeah. And we want to keep it as simple as possible, and we want to keep the paradigm of how to navigate our app as simple as possible as well. So it's basically, if you can read a line graph and just understand what certain buttons mean, it should be, the learning curve should be pretty low. That's the way we designed it. If it's not, please let us know. And like I said in last week's AI Circle, we've never been more ready to take on your feedback and make changes very, very rapidly. We spent the last couple of months setting up the stage to clear the runway to be able to deliver things to you very quickly from now on. Yeah. So please don't be shy. Leave us comments. Leave us email us. Email any kind of questions or feedback that you might have to right here at the bottom of your screen, mailbag at iFlipInvest.com. Any questions you might have that you want us to cover on the show, any feedback you have about the app, just send it right there and we will respond very quickly. It was a very exciting time.
And Aaron, one more thing. It kind of, I believe, leads into the next question. But one easy way, like I think if I remove myself, like from my point of view to being a customer, like what I would be logging in for is just to see how my account's doing or what I'm invested into. One of the things that we're working on in the next release is basically it has to do with the smart folios. So when you log into your home screen, and we'll have a video showing this sometime at a later date, and I believe it's actually even included in Aaron's that's a little bit older, but basically you can click on the portfolio that you own where it says own smart folios on the right. There's a little triangle, and if you click on that, it's going to basically drop down to show you everything that's in that portfolio. It'll show you if you currently have positions in that particular stock, and it also tells you what's in cash. So if you're just going to log in, want to figure out how things are going in 30 seconds, log into your account, click that little triangle. You'll see, hey, I'm invested into 4 out of 7 of these stocks, and this is how much is in cash. So just wanted to say that before we moved on.
Yeah, the best place to start is that video, which, by the way, is just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a very brief 2-minute overview of how to interpret and navigate and understand our app. And if you have any further questions, again, you feel free to comment on any of the YouTube videos on that very video. Right? We see all the comments, or again, email us at mailbag@iFlipInvest.com. We have a couple of people saying hi. Saying hi from San Diego. We have 2 people from San Diego.
I was going to say, we have both people who said where they're joining from are from San Diego. Small world.
Yeah. So yeah, we have SoCal representing right now in the chat room. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. And the next question for us is, I know there was a release last week. What was the big change and what is coming next?
Yeah.
So Lee, I'll kick this to you first.
Yeah. I'll keep it fairly high level. Aaron knows a little bit more about the ins and outs even than I do. But the most notable thing you'll notice is the speed is significantly improved. That's something I don't think Kelly talked about on the AI Circle. Maybe it might have been a different. It might have been just a meeting I had with him, but nonetheless, the speed is drastically improved. If you own any stocks manually, you'll also notice those load extremely fast. And I have to shout out our development team because they've been working their tails off to continuously improve the platform. And not all of it, I would say, is noticeable to the everyday person, but just I guess you got to take my word for it that things are improving a lot and they're trending in a great direction. So I would say the biggest change is the speed. There have been, some UX changes, meaning user experience changes that might not be as noticeable. And then what's coming soon? Actually, I left one big thing out: the mobile app. So before, and Aaron's kind of talked about this at length at a few different occasions, but basically we have a new version of the mobile app, so it looks a lot more similar, if not identical, to what you see if you log into your laptop. Personally, I'm a laptop guy. I'm on my computer all day long, so when I look at my account, it's on the computer. That's not the case for everyone. Some people just look at their phones, so they're going to look a lot more similar now. And the mobile app is significantly improved as well. Again, that doesn't mean that everything's done, but it is trending in a great direction. So what you can kind of expect moving forward, continuous. There's always going to, maybe not always, you hope there's no bugs, but they're going to come up. We're always fixing those. If you guys use iPhones, you probably know Face ID. That's coming back to the app here pretty soon. And then lastly would be performance type stuff. So most of it looks pretty good. There are still a few things that aren't perfect, and that's absolutely item 1A that they're working on to fix next. So again, trending in a great direction.
Yeah, let me just bring this question back up here for just a second. What was the big change, and what is coming next? So the big change, it was mostly stuff that is invisible to the everyday person, because it was all behind the curtains, server side, back end type of stuff. And that's what actually caused the breakage that we all experienced for the past few weeks. It was a tough time for everybody, including our development team, especially for our development team. But it was like we had to imagine, like, if it's a restaurant and something broke in the kitchen, right? And that would definitely affect the way your food is prepared and the quality of what what you would eat, right? We had to clean up the kitchen first. We had to get new appliances and all that stuff. It's all stuff that you wouldn't notice if you just walk into a restaurant, but it's very important. So we got all that stuff there. We got all the stuff cleaned out. There's still some minor bugs that we're cleaning out. Like, I know, for example, there's some numbers on your account performance were a little bit off today. So we had to, it's that balance of accuracy and speed. Right, so that's kind of the game that we're playing right now. It was really fast, but it was a little bit too fast. It miscalculated some numbers because it was a little bit too fast. That was kind of what we had to roll back and correct. So bear with us. We do appreciate your patience. As Lee said, that some of the things that are coming back is the Face ID, the biometric login. Right now, you have to enter your password. It's inconvenient, but we don't want to just give you biometric login and Face ID for the sake of convenience. There are security concerns that we need to be aware of and be mindful of, right? Because that's important too. IT is always a balancing act these days of convenience and security. So we're doing that dance and walking that tightrope as well. So we appreciate your understanding there. Good news is we do have corporate accounts coming into play here, becoming available for people to enroll in. Right now, if you wanted to set up a corporate account with iFlip, it's possible, but you'd have to like get with Lee or someone from the team to set up a Zoom call and do manual paperwork. And so we've streamlined that process into the app, and that is coming very, very, very shortly. The last thing that I would mention here is just be on the lookout, whether you're an Android person or a Apple person or a laptop person like Lee and myself. Just be on the lookout for updates, like almost on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. We don't know exactly what the schedule is going to be yet. We're going to shoot for weekly, but at the very least, it's going to be bi-weekly. So you're going to see your app update very frequently. So it might not be something you're used to, right? You might be used to only doing updates every few months. That's going to change. So we do need you to help yourself as well, right? By staying up to date with the apps. So that's the only thing, the last piece that I'll say. Lee, anything else to add before we move on to the next question?
I don't think so.
Okay. And by the way, guys, anytime you have a question, if you have a question specifically about what I just said or what Lee just said, you jump down in the chat. This is an interactive call or interactive live stream show. So feel free. We have the chat up right here, and we'll address your questions as they're submitted. For now, let's go back to our pre-submitted questions, and our next question for the evening is, now that the dollar has lost value, does that mean I should stop sitting on my cash and invest it in or out of the stock market? Lee, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is one seems to come up every now and again, and it's always due to something that's slightly different. I remember this question when inflation started being a pretty big topic of discussion, I guess I could say. And by no means is it gone, but people always want to optimize when their money's working for them, and maybe when it's a better time for it not to be working for them. And quite bluntly, that's what our AI is doing in the stock market for you. When it's statistically in your best interest to be invested, then it wants that money working for you. The opposite's obviously also true as well. When it senses danger, or if it just doesn't see much reward in the near future that's not worth taking on a bunch of risk for, then we're going to sit in cash. So in my mind, it kind of comes down to like, yes, I'd always like my money to be working for me, but at the same time, regardless of the buying power of the dollar fluctuating and sometimes being better in the foreign exchange markets than others compared to other currencies, would you rather just lose buying power towards something like inflation or towards, say the pound or the euro or something like that? Or would you also, on top of that, like to lose money in the market? And that's obviously a loaded question. No one wants to lose money in the market. So I don't think it applies as much to what we're doing now. If you were managing things on your own, that's definitely something you'd like to consider. But the point remains the same. What's going on in the foreign exchange markets, it is relevant, but it's not as relevant to should my money be working for me or not. That's what the AI does for us.
Yeah, I gotta be honest here. This question, I had to read it a couple of times to make sure that I was understanding it. So let's just go back to this question real quick. Now that the dollar has lost value, does that mean I should invest it? I kind of the reason I had a tough time with this is that if your dollar has lost buying power, then why would you want to use it? Would you know what I mean? Like, because like you said, Lee, we got this question a lot when the dollar was skyrocketing. The buying power of the dollar was skyrocketing, like last year and stuff. And it was like, oh my God, should we invest? And I think one of the questions that this reminded me of was, at the time, it was like, should I invest in like international real estate? Which that made sense to me because comparatively, this is the way that the currency market works, everybody, is you have to compare two different currencies, right? This is exactly the way that crypto works as well. If you didn't already know, if you look, Forex 101, there's always two currencies. So it's like USD, CAD, right, for the Canadian dollar, or GBP for the British pound, USD, right, for comparing the dollar to the British pound. That's why we call them pairs. There's always two currencies. So this is very much an international question, right? It's the US dollar buying power versus another country's buying power. So when the buying power of the dollar is very strong compared to, let's say, the euro, then it makes sense that you might want to use that dollar at that moment in time to buy like a property or something. But when your dollar is weakened, then you'd be getting less of a deal if you were to buy something. So this question was a little bit puzzling to me, the way that it was phrased. I think if we take a step back, I think the mindset behind this question was, something is happening. Should I act on it? And the simplest answer to that is, number one, we can't give advice, so we can't say you should or shouldn't do anything. But let's just go back to the kind of like a math like training exercise almost. Like if you have if you have increased buying power, that means that you get a better deal on whatever it is that you're buying, but understand what you're buying against, like what you're buying against another country's currency. If you think about it, there's another fun way to remember this is during our previous presidential administration, the dollar was as weak as it has ever been. And, and our president loved it, right? Trump at the time loved that. He was ecstatic about it. Why would you want a weakened dollar as a country? Because it promotes, think of it from the other side of things. Every other country is now, their buying power has increased, and they're like, oh wow, we're going to get a better deal on American products like iPhones and whatever, right? We're going to get a better deal on American stuff. And that promotes American business, which is what he wanted all along. So maybe that's a way that you can remember the significance of currencies getting stronger and weaker. It is very much an international transaction question. If you're the other way to remember it is Kelly last week was like, he was kind of bummed out that the dollar is weakened because he's going to Europe soon, and he wanted the best deal possible for for wherever he was going to go. I think he's going to, you know, eat in France and stuff like that. So so that's the way that it works. So hopefully that helps clarify the nature of buying power when it comes to international currencies. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. What is the difference between my Velox platform and my iFlip platform? For some people, this might be a super obvious question, and for some newer folks who are just joining us, who are just signing up and getting started with iFlip, they might not even know what Velox is. So, Lee, could you help us here and clarify what's the difference between iFlip and Velox?
I might elaborate on the question more than it is asking for, but basically, there are, you know, there are different parties, I guess, involved, and some you're not even really aware of in the financial worlds. Like a place like Schwab or something is going to have everything in house there. So while they might have different divisions, if you will, for different, you know, parts of anything that needs to happen in a transaction, like an introducing broker, a clearing broker, all those certain things that the everyday person doesn't even think of. Someone like us, we use business partners for that. So Velox is one of our business partners. They are our clearing firm. So basically, whenever the AI or our iFlip's AI decides that, hey, we should go buy XYZ company. So, and not to get too into the weeds of this, but basically we're able to connect to your brokerage account at Velox and say, hey, go buy 10 shares of this in XYZ person's account. So that's, they kind of handle the some of the regulatory side of it, honestly, for us, because we're just software, we're just AI, we're just, you know, the thing kind of like sits on top of your account and says, hey, if it's the right time to go buy this, then go do it. Same would also be true for the sales side. The part I'm going to elaborate on, because some of us or some people here have been with us for a long, long time. And if you're newer, this doesn't necessarily apply to you, and you can kind of tune out for 30 seconds. But way back when people used to have Velox login credentials, the purpose of that was to get access to your statements, your documents, your tax forms, all that sort of stuff. And the reason was we didn't have that in our iFlip platform at the time. So now that's all under the documents section inside of your iFlip platform. So like if you set up an account right now, you're not even going to have Velox login credentials because you don't need them. So every once in a while I get a question like, hey, I can't log into my Velox account. Which you don't need to. It's all in the document section. So maybe took it a little bit off the intended path of the question, but just wanted to add that little bit as well for the people that have been with us for a while that might be curious.
Thanks for that, Lee. I'm just going to bring this question up here real quick one more time. What is the difference between Velox and iFlip? And the best way that I think the easiest way for everyone to remember this, in my opinion anyway, is I'm just going to go back real quick to that restaurant example. If you go to any restaurant, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, right? To get the food from the moment you place your order to get your food delivered to you at your table, there's a lot that happens. The point is for it to be seamless and quick and convenient for you, and that's what you pay for. iFlip is basically the UI, which is like your menu, and also your waiter. We take what you want, like the stocks that you want to buy, and we place the order. Like we're like, hey, this table wants a pizza and a hamburger or something like that, and we tell someone else to make it for you and actually transact and buy those stocks, what you ordered. And then the app, again, we deliver it to you in the form of what you're looking at, right? It's there, the balance is going up and down, and the next day you're in or out of the position depending on what the AI wants to do, and that's the experience. Okay. Now, Velox is the person that, or the entity or the company, whatever, that actually transacts for you. In other words, it would be kind of like you could think of it as either like the chef that's preparing the meal for you, or if you want to go super high level, like the supplier of the food, the ingredients that was brought to you. Okay, so iFlip has we work very closely with them, but it's also a separate kind of thing. Think of it as like the difference between a waiter and the chef in a restaurant. For a long time, people were, think of it like, let's say this is a big trend now. What if you were ask a restaurant, like, give me the nutrition facts for this dish? Like, I don't know. A lot of restaurants didn't used to have that. And that's like a new thing that's become a trend. But in this business, it's something that you absolutely deserve to know. And we would just refer you like, hey, just go directly to the supplier, directly to Velox to obtain that information. We don't have to do that anymore. And so the newer folks who have joined us when it's become more convenient can enjoy the convenience of everything being in one spot. Okay, so hopefully that clears up what the difference is between Velox and iFlip, and let's move on to our final question for the evening.
Great restaurant analogy, by the way. That makes great sense.
Thanks for that, Lee. All right, so let's move on to the last question for the evening, which is, I had no idea that one could invest in iFlip as a company. I'm a registered investor and have seen no information dispersed by iFlip that one could invest. Please clarify. So I believe this is in reference to our announcement last week, where we had Randy come on. And if you want to catch that replay, just look at our YouTube channel and look for the AI Circle replay from last week, where Randy talked about, he gave a little bit of a sneak peek on the opportunity that you'll have to join us for a crowdfunding investment opportunity to own a little piece of iFlip as a company. So this person, I guess, didn't know that. Lee, do you have any comments on the whole crowdfunding opportunity?
Yeah, I would say it's not like you missed an opportunity or anything. It's something that, obviously there's a lot of behind the scenes and stuff. We can't give all the details about it yet, per our agreement with them. And so I guess all I can say is it's coming soon. That question is accurate. Yes, there will be an opportunity to own a piece of iFlip, whether that be a little bit, a lot, you name it. But like Aaron said, it is crowdfunding. So it's actually a very unique opportunity that, at least to my knowledge, is something that's kind of came up. I don't want to call it an industry, but this type of crowdfunding is very new, I would say. It allows everyone pretty much to invest into something like our company. Previously, you had to be, what would you call it? I'm losing the word here. Accredited. Gosh, I'm sorry. You have to be an accredited investor to do certain things, which honestly, like, I think those rules were in place to kind of keep you from frivolously spending money and investing into things when you don't have money to, put food on your table or something like that. So it's almost like the day trading rule, where you can't, trade too many times in a given week, because they know a lot of people end up losing money when they try to day trade. So not to make a whole sidebar on this, but just to kind of recap, you haven't missed the opportunity. We'll announce it once we're able to. It's going to be a great opportunity, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to take advantage of it. So the only thing I would say is it's better to get in the sooner that you can. So just keep refreshing your email, and we'll make it a big announcement when we're allowed to.
Yeah, we will absolutely make sure that you don't miss it. You'll see it all over the place when it's time to actually take part. And like Lee said, we're not really allowed to talk about it that much yet, except to say that, hey, we can't really talk about it that much. But something exciting is coming soon. And crowdfunding is something that is just really taken off in the past, I would say, 5 to 8 years ish. And we have the internet to really thank for that. And I think that most people are used to things like, a Kickstarter or Indiegogo for some kind of like new physical product that the company wants to obviously the cost to make something goes down per unit when you purchase in bulk, right? So we want to get massive amounts of pre-order and whatnot to supply to be able to give you something at a affordable rate, whether it's like a new chair or like a new coffee maker or anything like that. So this is a little bit different because this is like we're not delivering any kind of physical product, except for maybe like a t-shirt or something like that, like swag, right? That doesn't really count though. iFlip, I think this is a really unique opportunity and a really good fit because this is an investing community. We are a group of everybody following the YouTube channel. If you haven't already hit subscribe, by the way, you should hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and hit the like button on this video. But everyone who is joining us for these live streams is someone that in one way or another is interested in learning more about investing. And what better way to learn than to experience being an investor yourself? One way of doing it is to buy a stock in on your phone, like some app on your phone, iFlip or any of the other ones. Another way to experience becoming an investor is to own the actual piece of the company that's not public yet, but in the form of crowdfunding. It's a different way of owning a piece of a company. Stock market is for public companies, and these and a lot of these things are for private companies that are looking to either go public or grow or hit that next level or whatever the case may be. So this is just I think just another layer of learning how to invest that I think is really cool, and we will definitely make sure that you don't miss it because we will be talking about it everywhere. So follow us on socials, on our Instagram and our Facebooks, and our LinkedIn page as well. Follow us on Twitter, and we stay tuned for the very exciting announcement about crowdfunding and iFlip. Okay, now it is time for the trivia question. So hopefully I mean, it's summertime. We don't have as many people as we usually do today. I guess they're on vacation or something like that. But if you normally listen to or consume our content passively like a podcast or something, now is the time to stop what you're doing for a moment, get on your keyboard, get on your phones, and get ready to participate in our trivia question, the prize for which is a $25 Amazon gift card, which, let's be honest, that might as well be cash. And let's get to our question, okay? The trivia question for tonight is, if I can pull it up here. All right. The trivia question for tonight is, what is the largest stock exchange in the world as measured by market capitalization? Now, if you know the answer to this, type it in the chat, and we will, the first person to get the correct answer wins the prize for the evening. But while you're doing that, or you may be Googling it, I don't know. While you're doing that and putting your answers in the chat, Lee, could you tell us what market capitalization means? Because not everybody may know what that means.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a way to like evaluate how big a company is. The actual formula for it would be excuse me, the amount of shares that the company basically has sold, or that shareholders own, times the share price of that company. So obviously that can fluctuate minute by minute, second by second, day by day. But just to kind of make this a little bit educational as well, oftentimes I get asked the question like, oh, what types of stuff does your AI invest into? Is it just a blue chip, or that would be considered a large cap stock? I'm actually going to take the trivia question away for a second. So something with a large cap is basically over a $10 billion market cap. So the amount of shares that people own times the share price is over 10 billion. So those are the common ones, like your Apples, your Exxons, all that. Actually, probably should have checked before I said Exxon. I'm pretty sure it is, though. Those are a lot of the things that our AI will trade. They're big companies, they're reputable. Oftentimes they're considered safer, I guess, because they've been around for so long. The step below that would be what you would call mid cap. So that's anywhere between 2 to 10 billion. And then you have your small cap stuff, which is the anything under 2 billion, which 2 billion to me sounds like a pretty dang large number, but you might be surprised if you go on a Yahoo Finance or something and you're like, man, I wonder how big this company really is. And you'll be blown away. Yeah. So I'm going to put the question back up in case people need to see it again. Not sure if we have any correct answers yet, but I'm curious if we do.
Think we have a bunch of answers. Actually, we have a bunch of correct answers. Once again, the question for tonight is, what is the largest stock exchange in the world as measured by market cap? And the first answer in my chat here is that we have a bunch of correct answers, but the first one to get it is Teresa Rivers, who answered with New York Stock Exchange.
She even spelled it all out and didn't put the acronym like everyone else. I'm impressed.
Exactly. She was typing extra letters, giving everyone else a chance, and she still beat everybody to the punch here with the right answer. Yes, of course, the New York Stock Exchange is the largest exchange in the world. Honorable mention goes out to Tony Santiago, who also had the right answer, and Denise Brathwaite. Welcome, Denise. Nice to see you again. And Denise, who also had the right answer, but Teresa got it first, so she is our winner tonight. Now, Teresa, how do you collect your $25 gift card? Well, it's not enough that you just got the right answer. You also need to show us that you are invested in at least one smartfolio. How do you do that? Well, you can email mailbag at iFlipinvest.com, either a screenshot of your account to show us which smartfolio you're invested in, or just send us your account number, whichever you prefer. And once we verify you're invested, we will send you that gift card. In addition, you also have the opportunity to double your winnings for a total of another $25 for a total of $50 gift card if you decide to post about your winnings and whatever social media platform that you like to spend your time on. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. Take your pick. Threads, Threads is a new one if you like that one. So take your pick, and we will give you the instructions if you want to do that. That part is completely optional, but we will reward you for it, obviously. We'll give you instructions on how to do that to make sure that it's very easy and smooth. But if you're interested in that, that's your opportunity to double your winnings. Okay. So if you have any questions, of course, about any of this stuff or any of the content that we talked about, just any questions about the show or the AI Circle, can go to mailbag at iFlipInvest.com. That'll wrap it up for tonight's episode of Mailbag. If you like this content, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Make sure the notification bell is on so you don't miss another live stream. We'll be back next week with Kelly for the AI Circle next Wednesday, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. We'll see you then. For now, good night, everybody.